Hey guys, I'm so excited to bring this video to you and share Bentley's birth story. He is 3 weeks old. I cannot believe how fast time is just flying by. I feel like I just had him yesterday. But do we drop a passy? I'm so excited to share this with you. It was an incredible experience as expected, and we're just so in love with little Bentley. I guess we'll start with, if you follow me on social media, you knew this guy was a little bit late. He was 1 week late. He was born on July 15th at 8:08 in the morning, and he weighed a whopping 8 pounds, 9 ounces, and he was 22 inches long. Big boy. Yeah, really big boy. So the Friday before he was born on a Saturday, July 15th. So July 14th, my doctor had me come in for just a routine non-stress test, an ultrasound, and a physical exam just to see that he was comfortable and doing okay, see that my fluids were still all in there and everything was good. I have to say that day I just felt weird. I didn't feel like I was in labor or anything. I just felt off. I took a bath that morning, which I never do in the summertime, especially in the mornings. It was just weird. I just didn't feel right. So we went to the appointment, and I was 2 centimeters dilated, which made me really happy because with Addie, I wasn't dilated until I was actually in labor. And so I was 2 centimeters dilated. They said all my fluids were still intact and good. He was really comfortable, and they basically said that I could schedule an induction at that point at any time because they wouldn't let me go past 42 weeks, which was the same situation as Addison. Between 41 and 42, they said you could come in at any point and be induced. So I wanted to go in like right from there. I was just really uncomfortable towards the end of my pregnancy. I was having contractions for probably 4 weeks prior to having him. Nothing consistent, nothing that would stick. Here and there, I would get really excited or think maybe this is it, and then they would just subside. And I'm not talking Braxton Hicks. They were definitely like crampy, labory contractions, but I would have 1 or 2 and then they would go away. So that was a lot leading up to it. But towards the end, I was just really uncomfortable, really miserable. I just wanted him out. And so we knew going into that appointment that as soon as they gave us the green light, we were probably going to be induced. I was a little hesitant just because I've heard the complications that can happen with being induced, and then you're always at risk for C-section. So I was nervous, but hopeful that I was already 2 centimeters. So we went in on Friday. They said we can induce you tomorrow night, Saturday night. And I said to Dan, let's just wait and let's schedule it for Sunday night. We're already 2 centimeters. Maybe he'll come before then, and it'll give him an extra day to just make his way down. And funny enough, I was scheduled on a Sunday night for an induction with Addie at my 42-week mark, and she actually came that Friday too. She was 11 days late. So, oh, we're sleeping. So anyway, we agreed that we scheduled the induction for Sunday night. We went home. We ended up going out to dinner that Friday. I had a meltdown in the bathroom. I just like was bawling. I don't know. I was just so over it. I was just so over it. And like I said, I was feeling really off that day. And anyway, so we went out to dinner, we came home, we went to bed, and at about 1:30 I felt something. I went into the bathroom and I was bleeding a little bit, which I thought was kind of normal, and I thought this might be it. So as I was going to the bathroom, I just felt a gush of fluid, which I'm assuming was my water breaking. I'd never had experienced that before, and I was going to the bathroom, so I thought it was that, and that I wasn't actually just peeing. So I called Dan, I woke him up, and I said, I think this might be it. I think it's time. So not long after, I started to feel more blood, and I went back into the bathroom, and this massive blood clot. I passed this massive blood clot in the toilet, and I called Dan in, and he's like, that's not normal. And I said, no, now I'm really scared. So I had already previously called the doctor, the on-call number, and they said, someone will call you back in 20 minutes. And I'm like, I'm bleeding. I don't want to wait 20 minutes. Like, I really think we should come to the hospital. At that point, I was afraid to just move because I didn't want to keep bleeding. And you just, as a woman, I feel like you just know when something's not right. So we called my mom. She came over to sit with the kids because they were obviously sleeping. And the doctor did call me back within like 5 or 6 minutes. And she said, just come into the hospital. We'll have you checked. We'll see if your water did in fact break. Don't worry so much about the blood. It could just be your cervix dilating. We got to the hospital. We checked in about 2:50. The doctor came in and she examined me. She said, you are about 3 centimeters. But in order for me to see if your water actually did break, we have to do an ultrasound. So at that point, I wasn't really having consistent contractions. I was kind of experiencing the same thing I had up to that point. They would come, they would go, they wouldn't last, they weren't unbearable, they weren't, I wouldn't even say painful, they were just quick little cramps, and then they would go away. So I didn't know at that point because I just assumed once your water breaks and you're in labor, your contractions are starting, and mine weren't. So I wasn't really sure what was going on. So she did the ultrasound and she said, I think your water did break, but I still see a sac at the bottom, which could be, I guess at some point, like the sacs could reform if not all of the fluid exits. So she said, but I do think your water broke and we are going to admit you and you're probably gonna have this baby today. And the nurse that was with us said, I think you're gonna have the baby within 12 hours. You'll probably have the baby by lunchtime. And I was like, I'm down with that because my labor with Addie was 20 hours and I was laboring for 20 hours, contractions all day long. So when she said 12 hours, I was pretty excited. So they admitted us, we got brought up to the room. They did want to start Pitocin to get my contractions to come on more regularly. At that point, I wasn't in pain. Dan went to sleep. I went to sleep.
We're eating ice chips right there, right? How do they taste, babe?
So good.
Contractions aren't that bad, right?
What is my stomach doing?
I don't know. They're doing flips. Is he talking in there?
I don't know.
It's so loud. So
I'm so nervous.
I went to bed at midnight. I got startled at 1:30 by somebody.
You got startled.
That said she thought her water broke, and her water did break.
Contraction.
Here it comes. They don't hurt that bad, right?
Yeah.
Just kidding. JK.
So they started Pitocin to move them along because they weren't close enough together. And I'm 3 centimeters. And 70% effaced.
You're probably more now.
Yeah, that was like 2 hours ago.
No. What time is it? Oh, it is 4. After 4:15. So.
She was like between the hours of 12 and 3 so we could at least watch Big Brother. Right?
Yeah, I know,
3
right?
hours of Big Brother.
Yeah,
that
but
would be
they
nice.
probably don't have that channel.
That's true.
Bentley, you wanted to come at this time.
I had a feeling. I felt weird all day.
I know, but you know what? He decided to come, and the boy who cried wolf, aka you,
finally believed me.
I finally did when I saw that toilet.
It was like a weird, it was like a relief feeling. My mom told me that too when her water broke, how it's like, and that it did feel kind of good. It was weird. It's like the pressure being relieved, I guess.
Yep.
But I'm like surprised because remember we researched and they said only 10% of people's water.
I know
actually
you're special, babe. You are special.
I always wanted to experience that.
You are special, and now you
Then
did.
there was a lot of blood, and that
yeah, that
freaked
startled
me out.
me. I don't want to experience
I still
that.
don't understand what that was
That's
for.
scary. I was scared, but
That was really scary. Like I feel like I had no control. I didn't know what to do, and I didn't want to move because I didn't want to keep bleeding.
Thankfully, everything's okay. I'm signing off for now.
Hopefully, we'll see you with a baby next time.
Yeah.
They continued to come in and kind of up the Pitocin level. I think it only ever went up to a level 4. And at that point, they were starting to be more consistent, but not unbearable yet, until around 6 a.m. when they became bad. And that's when I asked to have an epidural. The anesthesiologist came in, gave me the epidural at 6:30. Thank God for an epidural. Then I felt really comfortable again. And then at about 7:30, I woke Dan up and I said, I feel like I'm experiencing a lot of pressure down there, but I don't feel like I should be feeling all of this given that I just had the epidural an hour ago. And on top of that, my entire body was shaking. I wasn't cold, I was just shaking. Like I couldn't stop shaking. So we paged the nurse and she came in and she said, the body shaking is the #1 sign that you're ready to deliver. And I'm like, what? Because at that point, all I knew I was 3 centimeters. Once your water breaks, they really don't like to check you all that often just to reduce any risk for infection. So at that point in my mind, I'm probably like a 4 or a 5. And so the nurse was like, I'm gonna check you. She said, you might be ready. And I'm like, there's no way. This all just happened really quickly. I thought I was gonna be getting to sleep a little bit longer. And sure enough, she said, you're 9 centimeters. Go time.
Back, what, like 4 hours later?
Yeah.
And
I had the epidural about, what, an hour and a half ago, Dan?
mm-hmm.
And I was doing really well, and then all of a sudden I started to not feel the contractions. So like, obviously I knew I was having contractions, but they weren't like painful. So I let the nurse know, and she just came in and checked me, and I'm at a 9.
We're about to deliver
I'm like
the baby.
shaking like crazy. I don't know why, but she said that means you're ready.
I'm shaking too.
I thought it was just like my nerves, but she's like, that's the sign that you're ready to deliver. So it's 7:25.
And we got here at what? 2?
10 of 3.
10 of 3. Yeah.
Amazing. I think I went a while without the epidural. Then it got really intense. So I had the epidural only for the last hour and a half. I'm excited.
I know.
But I'm like nervous. Like, I can't believe it's happening right now.
You weren't
told
ready.
me by lunchtime.
You weren't ready for this.
I thought I could sleep a little. But
I'm not ready for this.
I know. I'm excited though. So our moms are coming with the kids. And I'm excited. And I can't stop shaking.
So I started pushing with the nurse for a little while, and then they called the doctor in, and at 8:08 he was born with a full head of hair, a full body of hair actually. He has a ton of hair. I think he looks like my little brother Eric, his baby pictures. Yeah, it was really quick. It was basically 5 hours. My contractions, I didn't experience them for very long before I had the epidural. I will say the delivery was painful. My epidural hadn't worn off, but he was a very big boy, and I felt him. I felt the delivery. With Addie, I had a really, I'll say, painful labor and really easy delivery, and with this boy, I had an easy labor and a painful delivery. Granted, I wasn't pushing for all that long, but once he's down low, I felt everything. He latched right away. They did notice that he had a little bit of a tongue tie, which I know is pretty common in babies. A pediatrician just took care of it the first visit we went in. Otherwise, we would have had to go to Philly. So I stepped out of the room because I just didn't want to be in there. But Dan was there the whole time. He said he didn't even cry. Normally, the biggest complications are with nursing and then speech later down the road. And we weren't really having trouble nursing. And I honestly didn't notice a difference before and after it was taken care of. But I would be concerned about his speech down the road. So that's why we wanted to have that done as soon as possible. And I'm just glad it didn't cause him any pain. I didn't even hear him whimper. So that was good. And the only other little thing is he has a little clogged tear duct in his right eye. And the doctor said it'll probably go away on its own. They just have us massaging the bridge of his nose. Some days I don't even notice it. Other days he just has like little crust in his eye when he wakes up, or little eye boogers. But nothing too serious. He's so cute, and he always sleeps with his hand up on his face. We're all so in love. Addie and Louie are very proud, big brother and sister. They're all over him, which is really cute. Addie just is like my little mini mom, and she's actually a really big help. I always said I wanted to have my kids really close in age, but experiencing it now, I'm really happy with the age difference, because she's 4 and she's very self-sufficient and she's very helpful. She's very, very helpful, and just love the dynamic. And I was really happy too. I almost cried because the whole time I was pregnant, all she wanted was a little sister. Even we would run into random strangers that would come over and start talking to her, and, oh, are you gonna be a big sister? And she would tell everyone, I wanted a baby sister. So I was like kind of bummed, you know, in the beginning, just for her disappointment. But as soon as he was born and she was holding him in the hospital that day, she said, Mom, I don't want a little sister anymore. And now she's so in love with him, so happy with her little baby brother. She's very proud. Louie's very proud. It's really nice having him too, being older, because everyone, it's just an extra set of hands. All hands on deck. So that's it. Yeah, that's the story. We will keep you updated. I cannot believe he's gonna be a month old on Saturday already. As far as postpartum, one thing I was not expecting was postpartum cramps, which I remember having with Addie a little bit afterwards, especially when I would nurse her. And essentially it's just your uterus contracting. It gives off the Pitocin that's used in labor. It's like a natural Pitocin. Oh my God, the cramps that I experienced, like I would say up to a week after he was born, especially in the hospital, was excruciating. They were worse than some of my labor, and all of the nurses told me that it gets worse with each baby, I guess because your uterus has already been stretched out once, and now it's working in overtime to kind of go back. But that was not pleasant, and I feel like nobody warned me about that. It was really, really painful. Granted, they didn't last all day. They were just literally like contractions. They would come and go, but when they were there, oh my gosh. Even in the hospital, I'm not someone who likes to take medication, and I was taking Motrin and Tylenol, and I had a heating pad, and nothing was helping. And I even was telling the nurses, as soon as I'm okay to take another dose, please bring it, because I was in so much pain. And so that was probably the roughest thing that I experienced. Other than that, I feel like I bounced back really quick. Funny thing is too, as soon as he was born, it's hard to describe it. I was just so relieved, and I felt this clarity and I just felt so good. I was so unhappy towards the end of my pregnancy. I can't explain it. I was just so happy to not be pregnant anymore and not be so uncomfortable. I don't know why it was so rough on me, but it was like this moment that I just wasn't pregnant anymore, and more importantly that he was here, and I finally knew what he looked like and I could hold him, and he's just super great. He likes to sleep a lot during the day, and at night he is giving us 3 to 4 hours at a time. Breastfeeding is going really well, so no complaints here. I'm just happy that he's finally here, and we're all adjusting really nicely. Dan was off for 2 weeks with us, so that was amazing, just having him home and having us all kind of adjust to this new little guy. But it's been really good. I feel very blessed and grateful, and my heart just feels like it's gonna explode every single day. But I'm really happy to have introduced him to you guys. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments below, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.